Hello everyone, welcome to Anime No Mi, and thank you for joining us for another One Piece video. As we saw in the last chapter of One Piece, 1053, apparently a great conflict is coming and making its way towards Wano country. We saw Admiral Ryokugyu arrive in Wano and defeat several powerful pirates from Kaido's band, and now he's heading towards the festival that's happening in the Flower Capital. Not only that, through Nico Robin we find out that Tenguyama Hitetsu is actually Kozuki Sukiyaki, the former shogun of Wano. However, the revelations don't end there. We also find out that Pluton was in Wano, and Sukiyaki confirms it. So in today's video, we're going to talk about the likely events that'll occur in this next chapter of 1054, who Admiral Ryokugyu will face, and where Pluton may be hiding. But before we dive into the video, if you're new to the channel, we'd be absolutely honored if you consider leaving us a like, or even subscribing with a comment letting us know what you thought of the video. It really helps us out and motivates us to make more content, and if you'd like to help us out in a bigger way, consider sharing the video or the channel with a friend. Without further ado, let's get into the video. In this last chapter of 1053, we saw that Luffy and Buggy have become new Yonko. Now, we don't know really how Buggy managed to do that because he's not really as powerful as he has a public image as. But there is a possibility that he was able to become the new Yonko by having several new territories conquered, since Admiral Ryokugyu says that the outside world is a mess. So while the Straw Hats have been in Wano facing down Kaido and Big Mom, several other events may have occurred in the outside world. We've seen in the cover stories of the recent chapters that Germa 66 is now attacking Totoland, which means that while the two Yonko were distracted in Wano creating their alliance, the rest of the world is attacking their territories. Now, of course, this isn't a difficult thing to imagine because we've seen several times where pirates have tried or successfully conquered other people's territories. For instance, we saw the Straw Hats do this on a specific page where we see Luffy's fleet was conquering a territory of Shanks, who's of course one of the other four emperors. So as the two Yonko have been busy fighting Luffy and his samurai mink pirate alliance, this has also allowed other pirates outside of Wano to attack territories, and Buggy may have been one of these pirates, because Wano may not actually be Kaido's main territory. During Kaido's flashback, we saw that he was in another location before coming to Wano, so this could be his other place, could be this main territory. He left the territory in the hands of some trusted pirates, and then left for Wano so that he could acquire many more resources for a pirate to become the strongest Yonko crew. Buggy then may have found an opportunity and may have taken this place over and managed to defeat Kaido's pirates, and thus taken over some of the territories that used to be controlled by Kaido and Big Mom, and therefore Luffy and Buggy achieved fame throughout the world, and that's how they became Yonko. In this chapter, we've had the revelation that Pluton is in Wano, and it's one of the most powerful weapons from the ancient world that is capable of easily destroying islands. And for those who do not know or don't remember Pluton, it was along with Poseidon and Uranus that are these ancient weapons that existed more than 800 years ago. We first learn of these ancient weapons, and more specifically Pluton, at first during the Alabasta arc. And this of course was Crocodile's main objective and why he was in Alabasta. Now also, Nico Robin was pretending to be his ally, and she was specifically acting to try and keep Crocodile from finding it in the first place. Robin, being the only one who can read the poneglyphs because she was the sole survivor of the O'Hara incident, said that she did know the location of Pluton. However, she didn't reveal its location and said that it could be related to Water 7. So that was why the Straw Hats set off to this location to find out more information about Pluton in the first place. During the Water 7 arc, we met Frankie, who had the blueprints on how to create a new Pluton, but in order to keep them from falling in Spandam and CP9's hands, he burns the blueprints, but has the only copy then in his memory of how to create a whole new Pluton. So when the Straw Hats find out that Pluton was not in fact in Water 7, they abandon the possibility of finding this great battleship, but Nico Robin knew of its real location. After the conflict in Wano between Kaido and Big Mom against the pirates and samurai and ninja and minks, Nico Robin decides to look for where Pluton was hiding because the writings of the poneglyphs led directly to Wano. While searching for more information, she comes across Tenguyama Hitetsu, who reveals his true identity to her, claiming to be Kozuki Sukiyaki, the former shogun of Wano, and then she questions him about the location of Pluton. Sukiyaki confirms to her that Pluton is indeed in Wano, but then their dialogue ends, so we don't know if the confirmation leads to more places or where this actual possible location of Pluton is. But it's got to be somewhere very hidden because otherwise it would have been found by Kaido. So maybe it's just plans, or it could even be something about the island of Wano itself. One thing we do know about Pluton is that it is a gigantic ship that has many many weapons of destruction. So it's gotta be huge, and in Wano, there's no real place that's that big unless the island of Wano itself was Pluton. We're shown in a flashback that while Wano was being ruled by Orochi and Kaido, Sukiyaki stayed hidden under the castle, possibly to prevent Orochi from ever finding Pluton, or at least the information, because Wano's castle may actually be the entrance to Pluton. So in this next chapter of 1054, it's possible that we'll get the revelation of where Pluton is, and how he might be needed for the future work of One Piece, because as we know, we're coming into the final stages of this story, with all the important events that are currently taking place, especially the arrival of an admiral in Wano. If the Marines were able to take over Wano, they would have Pluton under their possession. This idea alone would be incredibly dangerous for pirates and anyone else in the world who were against the Marines and the world government, because as we know, the greatest firepower that the world government and the Marines have is a buster call, which are ships that are capable of destroying entire islands. So far, we've seen this used twice, once in Ohara and the second time in Eni's lobby. But the buster call's firepower is nothing compared to Pluton's. This ancient ship or weapon could easily destroy kingdoms in less time than the buster call could have destroyed an island. If the Marines ever had possession of Pluton, it would spell disaster for the whole world, because as it was shared in the Fishman Island arc, these ancient weapons have immense destructive power. Just consider Shirahoshi's power as Poseidon. She possesses the ability to control Sea Kings. No matter where they are, she can attract them and order them to do just about anything for her. Since Shirahoshi has only recently discovered this power, she hasn't fully gained control of it yet. But it has been said that Poseidon's power is able to move islands and sink ships by use of the Sea Kings. So any combat in the water against Shirahoshi would be pretty much a losing battle, because she already possesses this ability to control Sea Kings, and her being a mermaid herself gives her her own powers. Comparing the power of Shirahoshi to Pluton then, it has to mean that Pluton is gotta be this same destructive force. Now we don't know if Pluton is a living boat or if it's just something like a very powerful vessel or weapon. And the idea of a living weapon isn't exactly far-fetched, because in the world of One Piece, even if it seems strange, there have been images of boats that have souls. Just think about back to the Going Merry. Even though this was an ordinary boat, it had developed a soul because of all of the love that Luffy and his companions had put into it. Thinking back to one of the most tear-jerking scenes in all of One Piece, while the Merry was burning, it bids farewell to its former companions, showing that even though it wasn't a living being, it had a soul and its own kind of mind. So because Poseidon is a living being, there's even the possibility that Pluton is also a living being, but maybe more of a vessel with emotions and acts in whatever ways it thinks is right or wrong. But we'll only know this once Pluton has been revealed. But finally, let's talk about one of the biggest events taking place right now in Wano. At the end of this last chapter, Admiral Ryokugyu alone was able to defeat many of Kaido's pirates, who managed to survive the big battle in Onigashima. Apparently, he possesses a Paramecia devil fruit that gives him the ability to create plants from his body. And while he was arriving in Wano, we saw that he had created a flower on his back that gave him the ability to fly. In chapter 1053, we saw his fingers become roots and he pierced his enemies, and we saw that he also managed to defeat King and Queen all by himself. This alone proves that he is an incredibly powerful admiral, able to defeat the most powerful pirates that Kaido has at his command. It was also shown that his roots were able to absorb any liquid that it comes in contact with, as if he were a plant. And he's able to absorb the nutrients from somebody's body, as he demonstrated when he absorbs Queen nutrients, leaving him all skinny and just shriveled up. And even when Ryokugyu took the water out of the barrel, it seemed like he could taste the drink, and he said that it hadn't been fermented properly, confirming that he really did know what was in the barrel and it wasn't just his vines or his roots absorbing the liquid. And if you think about it, this makes sense that these plants are connected to his body. If you think about it, just like the fruit of the Hanahana no Mi that Nico Robin has, Ryokugyu can project his body, and just like Robin can create parts of her body somewhere else, Ryokugyu can make and modify his body to resemble a plant and grow things out of other places. They also both can sense what's going on with that part of the body when they're using their power, even pain. So their powers are quite similar, but at the same time have distinct sensory differences at the same time. In this last chapter, we saw that Ryokugyu looks at Luffy's wanted poster and says that he will capture him because he is a big target for the Marines and world government. This is because he's managed to become the new Yonko. Now, we don't know if the admirals have been informed about Luffy's fruit awakening, but apparently Admiral Ryokugyu is only after after Luffy because of his new bounty and for becoming a new Yonko. In the closing panels of the chapter, we see him walking towards the festival that's taking place in the Flower Capital, the place where Luffy and his allies are. So in this next chapter, we're gonna get to see a fight between Luffy, Admiral Ryokugyu, and everyone else at the festival. Now, whether he's able to capture Luffy or whoever he's there to get, we don't know, because Wano is full of Luffy's allies that would help him fight, and they wouldn't allow this admiral to capture him. But while heading to the Flower Capital, we also see him on the Denden Mushi, or transponder snail, that he's telling a marine to bring new boats to Wano. Now, we don't know if he's bringing other marine ships or just the Buster Call to Wano. If it really is a Buster Call, the citizens of Wano are going to be in serious trouble, because even though it's a very large island, it's possible that destruction will reach the Flower Capital, and that most of the citizens of Wano are really there, so we could see a lot of loss of life during this next battle or confrontation. So these last chapters of the Wano arc are going to be a decisive moment to know the next events that are going to occur in this last saga of One Piece. And we got to find out what is going to be the new destiny of Luffy and his crew, and how the story will follow after Wano. But for now, we'd love to know what you think about it. What do you think Admiral Ryokugyu is really there for? Do you think he's there to maybe capture Luffy or Robin, or is he there for some other reason? And also, what do you think Pluton is? Do you think it's a person or a living ship or even an island in Wano country? Let us know what you think in the comments below. So friends, as we wrap up our expectations for chapter 1054, I want to thank you all so much for watching the video all the way to the very end. Make sure you comment on any themes or ideas that you'd like to see in future videos. And also, since you made it this far, maybe give us a like or hit that red subscribe button before you head out to take on the rest of your day. I hope to see you all in our next video, and let's keep sailing this giant sea together. Take care.